have you realized with Putin visit, America totally blanked it out? American media, social media, totally.
No, but listen, I was in Europe during those days when Putin was visiting out here, and the worst time to go to Europe for an Indian, because we don't understand it from sitting in India, and maybe there's an element of, European exceptionalism that why are the Indians,
bringing a war criminal.
Exactly. But from, if you look at it from a European point of view, they are actually in a very bad place. They see themselves, in a sense, being abandoned by the Americans. And they see countries like India, which they thought should be standing with them, dealing with the Russians. And we try to explain to them why, dealing with Russia is an important thing for India. So I think, but it was not very well received, at least. And I can tell you about NATO, and I can tell you about, because we were in Belgium, about NATO and the EU. They just don't like.
That is where he was. And we thought he's gone to find out whether Asim Munir is alive or dead.
No, Asim Munir is alive until he's going to be dead one day. Everybody will be dead, but he might be dead sooner than later. The point is, but in the Europeans at least, they have a very strong sentiment. They are feeling very insecure. They feel that maybe if they have another 10 years or so, because now they are pumping in a lot of resources into building up their own military muscle, whether they will ever be able to use that military muscle, we don't know. But I think the good thing, and the world is very fortunate that Europe is so weak right now. Otherwise, we would have seen a world war. Because the European, if you look at the mind in Europe right now, the mindset in Europe, they are incensed by what Russia has done, perhaps disingenuously. The Europeans have done their own, these games of destabilization in the Middle East, in Libya, in Syria, and all these other places. Of course, they try and rationalize it differently. But the kind of demonization they've done of Russia, they would have gone to war with Russia if they could do it. The fact that they can't do it, I think the world can heave a sigh of relief that this war will hopefully not go beyond what it is right now. Otherwise, it would be hell for everybody.
Okay, so how many of you read Tavleen Singh's article? Did you feel uncomfortable with the laying of red carpet out for Putin?
No,
not at all.
Any of you felt it?
Listen, every country has dealt. America used to deal. You remember this Kissinger's famous thing? He's a bastard, but he's our bastard. He was talking about Manuel Noriega at that time, but who was a drug dealer, the president of Panama. Every country.
He became a drug dealer once he fell foul of the Americans. Until then, he was a favorite.
But the point is, every country deals with dictators, rolls out the absolute red carpet for them, no questions asked. So, I think, so to be fair to Tavleen, she's in a very Europeanized, anglicized mindset, right? The European conversation is what these things do.
Drives
at. Whereas for us who actually work in foreign policy, we're like, boss, Putin is nothing compared to some of the people America has entertained in its past. And if they didn't have an issue doing it, I sure as hell don't.
If the Americans can invite a criminal like Asim Munir,
that was my point,
and Shahbaz Sharif to the White House and give them the treatment and build them up, my favorite field marshal, etc., when everybody knows that you don't have a democracy in that shithole country.
Correct.
Then tell me something, why are the people in India, having these crazy kind of things about what should we have done? Not rolled out a red carpet for Putin?
I think Tavleen's piece was brilliant, except for the beginning, the middle and the end, which is typical Tavleen.
And the lines in between.
Ignorant.
Tavleen makes a lot of sense more often than
Zero.
No,
Zero.
Sorry, I disagree.
Every piece I can bring out at least 10 factual inaccuracies, illogical, irrational.
So just one thing.
But we still read.
I want to take what he said forward. That was exactly my point. Asim Munir has threatened to nuke us. Don't edit this.
He's threatened to nuke the world.
Half the world. Let's be clear on it. That son of a and I hope he dies soon. No, I'm very clear on this.
Galidas kaun hai bhai?
This No, sorry.
I object to the use of the word bitch.
Yeah,
Dogs are
bitches,
very nice.
yeah, they're very nice.
You can't call
This asshole.
Ilan Omar got called a bitch by Donald Trump this morning.
Yeah, this morning.
I strongly condemn President Trump. He should have called it a sow.
But anyways, he wants to nuke half the world and he's dining with President Trump. If that works in President Trump's interest, Putin is not doing anything bad to me or my country.
Yeah.
I am going to deal with it and so be it. I will deal with who I want to deal with. And President Trump has to accept this reality. I'm not spoiling my relations with President Trump. I'm not spoiling my relations with the European nations. I'm clear. I'm done with
मैं
this.
ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि it's taken me 5 or 6 months. But I have kind of rationalized what I wanted Modi to do, and the fact that he hasn't done it, I have rationalized it. Which is कि मेरा मन नहीं करता ये ट्रम्प का, अब वो सी वाला वर्ड यूज मैं नहीं कर सकता, द स्टूपिडिटी ऑफ ट्रम्प और जो इलीगल एक्शंस हम पे कर रहा है उसको साले को जवाब दें, मेरा मन करता है।
तो मुझे लगता है कि strongly object to the world president being criticized in these terms.
नहीं कोई
No, there is nothing illegal about what he's done. It's all legal.
देखो यार,
I will not tolerate any criticism of Trump.
टैरिफ लगाए थे ना, चाइना ने एक दिन में रिस्पॉन्ड करके उस पे रेसिप्रोकल टैरिफ्स लगा दिए, उसने 150% से 30% पे ले आया।
China controls the chips.
Yeah.
यार
No, 1 minute.
No, they're not
on
chips.
the chips today.
The
Trump has
given
Trump
Nvidia
has
वाले
told
deals.
Nvidia कि तुम जाके
China को दे
दो। China says नहीं चाहिए boss. Amazing. Look at that flex. When they turn around and say कि नहीं चाहिए, क्योंकि they are giving push to their own domestic industry and
हम
saying
क्यों नहीं
बनाओ
कर रहे? ये मैं सोचता था।
देखो मैं पता है क्या है? I'll tell you the reason why. I'll tell you the reason why. You can do it if you want to, on a range of
if you had industrialized.
But your problem is that, and I think the Prime Minister knows the people of this country better than you and I. जहाँ पर जो रोना धोना शुरू होगा ना, I'm telling you this. That so, for example, the moment you were to start imposing reciprocal tariffs on the Americans and saying I'm going to push back on you, right? What would happen? There would be somebody who would suffer out here. Obviously, because whenever there's a trade war, something like this happens. That rona dhona which would happen out here would be of a kind that the government will say, yeah, forget it, I don't want all this rona dhona. Right? Okay. In China, do you think if the Chinese government retaliates against the Americans, do you think there will be any rona dhona? No. They will suppress it completely.
Let me ask you all a simple question to back this up. Do you remember IC 814?
हाँ, exactly.
याद है क्या हुआ था कि all the families went and camped outside the PMO.
और
all the attention, 90% of the coverage was the families outside the PMO, not the actual decision making and things like that. Bhai, you can't deal with one hijacking. You don't have the stomach to.
But this was these tariffs were a good opportunity for India to seriously reform and get into the game.
But I think it is happening.
I think
it's
we've done
We've
a
had
lot.
so many opportunities.
Okay. Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching ANI podcast with Smita Prakash.
अगर हम उसको मस्जिद कहेंगे तो फिर विवाद होगा।
The issue is टूटा है क्या भारत?
400 पार का मतलब ये है कि संविधान खतरे में है।
क्या हम लोग ये निर्देश देते हैं कि फला को गिरफ्तार करके जेल डाल दें?
वही तो कह रहे हैं सब।
ये बेबुनियाद निराधार आरोप।
सच्चा सुनना चाहो देखो स्मिता प्रकाश ANI, it does not lie।